Hi, everyone. My name is Barry Heidowitz. I'm the Director of Education and Labs here at XtremeLabs. I'll be putting my contact info in the chat if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to Amber so we can get started. And this webinar will be recorded. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat or in the QA section. We'll try and address them as we go along. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Amber. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you, Barry, and good morning, good afternoon to everybody, wherever you're located. Today I am dialing in from Spain, so it's 6 p.m. here. Thank you all for attending. I will be going through just a brief introduction on XtremeLabs. There's a lot of changes that have happened over the last 12 to 14 months. We want to go through those and then just give a quick update on some of the technology enhancements that have been done, and then open up the floor for any questions that you may have. The presentation part of it probably will take 15-20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, and then we can jump into questions, or you can feel free to ask during the presentation as well, and then I will answer those as well. Go ahead. So let's get started. Most of you is
There's some echo for some reason again.
okay. Let me. Yeah. Is there still an echo?
No, it sounds better now. Thank you.
Okay, great. So most of you are familiar with XtremeLabs as a digital hands-on technology provider. So we've been in the hands-on lab business for several years. Initially started out in the Microsoft domain, and then extended it into CompTIA, into AWS, into NetApp, into VMware, and several other technologies as well. But since then, a few things have happened. We have now put in a front end to the XtremeLabs Digital Labs platform, and that is the XtremeLabs Marketplace. We launched this about 10, 11 months ago. Anybody can go to XtremeLabs.io and have a view of our entire catalog and be able to essentially work with us on purchasing the labs as well. And then we continue to have a very specific marketplace solution for the academic market as well. And then I will touch base on that and discuss that as well. And then the additional thing that we've added really is a digital content delivery platform. This allows us to distribute content from lots of different publishers, which is and can be integrated not only with the marketplace but with the XtremeLabs Labs platform, so you can get a aggregated content delivery solution as well as a hands-on lab solution as well. And again, like I mentioned initially, we started out in the labs business, but now we're offering digital courseware, digital study guides, online exam vouchers. We have guided learning courses, and then also self-study online courses. And as with the labs, we're working with different technology providers, different publishers, and essentially becoming the single point of entry for anybody that wants to use digital labs, digital courseware, digital study guide as part of their learning delivery. And that could be within the academic space, it could be within professional training space, it could be professional development as well. Some of the technology content providers, Microsoft, VMware, InfoSec, I already discussed that. We have all of Wiley's content related to different certifications, both on Amazon certification as well as on the Microsoft side. And there's probably 13 other publishers. We can provide you a list if anybody's interested, but they're all on our marketplace. The entire catalog is available there as well. And the interesting part is that we keep adding new publishers literally every month. So there's new people that come up with exciting content, and they will want us to get it out to as large a population as possible. So we're adding them into our platform. Very soon we have the Microsoft Cloud solution. We have the AWS solution. We have some labs on Google. And pretty soon, for our customers that might not be in the US, we will have the Alibaba Cloud solution as well in our marketplace and as well as our portfolio. Uh, Similarly, just like we have the actual content providers, the technology domains also are quite deep as well. So we've got the Microsoft platforms, we've got AWS, we've got a whole slew of security products, we've got networking products, and the most recent one is the AI, machine learning, but specifically the generative AI product set. And that is probably now 15 to 20 different solutions that we have, content related to using generative AI in different industries, or just basically learning about generative AI, or basically learning about how you can use generative AI for other technologies. So, how does generative AI play a role with Microsoft Dynamics? And how does it play a role within the finance industry? So all of these things are now available. XtremeLabs has positioned itself as one place where all of you guys and all of the instructors from around the world can come in and kind of take a look at that and see if it makes sense to build your curriculum around it. So the summary is that it's just not labs anymore. It is a very deep and extensive portfolio of digital products supporting the learning environment. And even though a lot of these products are fairly new, we've seen a tremendous amount of uptake on the usage. So just on the digital labs and courseware content bundles that we've launched in the last 10 or 12 months, we've seen in the first 9 months, we saw almost 17 million minutes of content consumption. And again, that's something that we're really, really excited about. And as we continue to give and expand the portfolio of digital content, digital labs, the bundles, we expect this rate of growth to continue for the next several years as well. So again, the buying journey, Barry put in some of the information in the chat as well, but it's here in the presentation as well. For anything related to marketplace, whether you've already decided what course and what lab you want to offer, you can contact Dumia and she can get that set up. Then you have Barry for any custom related work that you may want to do, or any other activities related to potential future curriculum development, adding courses in the future. Just contact Barry and he can work with that. And then Maury, that some of you may have already worked with in the past, is available as well to provide support. So we spent a lot of time in making the buying option super easy. So a lot of you obviously are working with students. Students may want to buy directly. We will, and I will give you a little bit of a demo of the academic marketplace that we have available that is really custom to individual institution, individual professor. The students can come in and directly buy from that as well. We're also available on different aggregators, so Red Shelf, Barnes & Noble, Foley, others, and then Vital Source. We'll be adding that very soon as well. So let's go and take a look at the XtremeLabs academic marketplace. And this was established several years ago to really provide universities the ability to quickly deliver a solution to the students so they could come in and buy the labs themselves. And not that we wanted to cut out the college bookstores out of the process, but in many cases, it made sense to just have a standalone marketplace available for the students. It's much quicker to establish, easier to handle. And the interesting part of it is that once we've established this, the provisioning for students is completely automated. So the way that this would work is if we go into the academic marketplace, I'll sort of share that with you in a moment. Um, so you would go to store.xtremelabs.io, and because you've already decided what courses that your university is offering, what are the different labs that are going to be utilized for that, and who the individual professors are, we essentially create an individual bookstore for each of the professors. It doesn't have to be the professor, it could be based on a course name, and then each of the products that are required for that particular course are listed here. So in this particular case, there's some courseware content, and then there's a lab as well. Both of them are bundled together, so the student doesn't have to go first buy the courseware, then buy the lab as well. Sometimes we have instances where there might be 2 or 3 labs that are involved in a particular course, so those can be bundled together. So again, just single purchase, making it really easy for the students to come in and execute on the purchase. So to kick this process off, Dumia Daud, who I mentioned earlier, is your single point of contact. And again, if you have any questions on this particular process, how to get it set up, any of those things, you can let us know. As soon as the student makes a purchase, they do get a detailed receipt emailed to them, so they can utilize that if for some financial aid purposes. That's sometimes sufficient as well. Lots of times, what's happened is we've worked with different professors in different institutions where some of the professors are comfortable using this way of this particular buying journey. Others may want to work through the school bookstore, and we're completely flexible, completely open to doing the right thing for the student and the instructor and the professors as well. Um, so let me just go back to our presentation here. And that was just a quick overview of the marketplace. Again, if you have any questions, sort of feel free to ask, and then we'll try and address those as well. So the next thing from a learner and instructor perspective, a few things that I wanted to highlight. Many of you are familiar with the platform, and we'll go a little bit into that shortly. But a few things that I wanted to point out is that we are supporting the LTI standard, so you can integrate your learning management system directly with the lab platform. So in this particular case, if a lab has 8 or 9 different modules, we will give you 8 or 9 different aliases that you can place within your course at the appropriate time. At the appropriate location, the students will log in to your LMS, and as they're sort of going through the course, they will see links for the labs, and then once they click on that, they will jump directly into the lab session as well. But a new feature that we've added is if multiple students, if you're running a class with 8 or 10 students, in the past, if they launched an LTI session, they were basically on their own. They were going and doing their own work. There wasn't sort of the aggregation or the classroom capability available. So over the last 12 months, we've added the classroom function to the LTI launches as well. So when somebody launches using LTI, we give them a classroom code. They type it in, and then they will join into the classroom. So now the professor has an aggregate view of all the people that are in that particular classroom, and then their ability to use all the different instructor tools that I will touch on in this particular classroom as well. So they're coming into LTI, but they're getting a full-featured solution as well. The next thing, again, that I want to remind everybody about is that as you're teaching Azure courses or cloud courses, there are cloud credentials that are required. They are delivered to the XtremeLabs platform using our Cloud Xpress Pass technology. So any courses that you might be teaching that require cloud credentials, the student does not have to create an account, put in their credit card. All of that is handled by XtremeLabs on the Azure side. Now, there might be some tenants, for example, Microsoft 365 or a few others, where there's just no way around getting around sort of the policies that have been put in place by the technology provider, where the student will need to enter some credit card information as well. But in most of the traditional cloud providers and cloud solutions, our Cloud Express Pass will work without any issues. And then on the accessibility side, we get audited once a year by different technology providers. So that might be Microsoft, we're providing services for them. It could be others to making sure that we are compliant with the accessibility standard and we follow WCAG standards. So spending a lot of time in making sure that we are compliant with the accessibility standards as well. So let's get into the platform as well. So the first thing that I've put up here is just to showcase that now we do have branding capabilities. So if you would like, you can have yourschool.extremelabs.io branded website. You can give us your logo and we can put it up here. Right now, for example, there's a logo for a Spanish institution called NANFOR that we put up. So once we set up at the yourschool.extremelabs.io URL, you can then actually map it on your side, and it could be labs.university.edu. So people can get a little bit of a personal view into the lab platform as well. And then once they click on that link, they would get a logo of your institution as well. So that is something that has been added into the platform, and that's available for everybody for no cost as well. This is kind of the traditional XtremeLabs view if you're coming in through our portal and not coming in through the LTI platform. So I'm going to just sort of click on that and then start sharing my other screen so that you can see the platform as well. So I will log in here. And I'm, as I log in, I'm sort of logging in with super permissions. So you'll see a few more things that I have access to that that the student or the instructor may not, and I'll sort of point them out. So the first thing that I do want to point out is that historically on the XtremeLabs platform, we only had the ability to uh, just showcase the lab modules. Once you logged in, all you saw were these green tiles, and you press on take a lab, and it sort of launched the lab module. What we've added now are links to the actual lesson. So there might be links to content that you can put in. So because this is a standard Microsoft lab called AZ-104, which is the basic Microsoft Azure Administrator course, uh, the tile here that links to the content actually takes you to the official Microsoft content that's available on MS Learn. The important thing to note here is that the blue tile here is completely configurable. So if you have your own content, you now have the ability to add it right here as a blue tile, and we'll show you how you can do that. So that once your students log in, they can not only see the content that comes with the lab, but any additional content that you may want them to see as well. So what might that look like? Let me see if I can showcase a particular lab that might have additional content. So in this case, what we've done is this is a Power BI lab. You'll see the blue tile that has the lesson on MS Learn, but we've then added additional things. So here's some content you can get from a Power BI community, or here was like an old update that they put in, but there were some videos related to a Power BI update that was done, and you can continue to like modify that as well. You can put in links directly to a knowledge check, for example, um, or it could be any type of content that is available. The content itself can be hosted by us. You can work with us, and we can actually host the content, or it can just be a link to some external content that's available out there. And the intent of sort of providing this capability is really to enrich the experience that the student has, so they don't have to go look at two or three different places for additional content. All of that is available to them right here in the XtremeLabs platform. So let's look at a few different sort of features here. So many of you may be familiar with the managed classroom feature. So if you're an instructor or an account administrator, um, you have the ability to create a classroom. So I have created a Black Back to School demo classroom. The course is AZ-104, and it has two students, one instructor and two students that are assigned to that class. Um, so just a quick reminder. So the classroom details, once you set up the classroom, you can do a bunch of other things. If you're running a virtual classroom, you want to add the virtual meeting information, you can add that here. If you have any file sharing that you may want, you may have set up a Google Drive or something, you can add the file sharing information here as well. And once you add all these information, they appear in the information tab um, when the student launches a lab. You can turn on classroom chat, and what this does is allows the instructor to interact in a chat with the student, or the student to interact with other students as well. If you're specifically allowing your students to do and get Microsoft certification, there's the ability to give and distribute out the achievement code URL right here in the platform. If you have a survey, a lot of times there are surveys that are sent out. You can actually publish a survey, put in the link right here, and it will get distributed to the students as well. You already have the student guide, the instructor guide, and admin guide available here in the classroom page. You can download them and distribute them to the students, and then they also have access to that as well. Um, the part that I wanted to mention was really on the content management side. So here you can actually go in and add different types of content. So if it was a video content, you decide what course that you want to publish it on. Um, and then you would put in the content title, the content URL, you would save it, and then now it would appear as a blue tile on the main screen when somebody gets access to that particular course. So you built this content, and then you'll just click here, and you'll associate the content to that particular classroom that you're running. So pretty powerful. Once you do that, you can essentially, as I mentioned, you can tailor the learner's experience. So they're just not getting the standard lab related stuff, or they're not just getting the material that has been provided to them by the technology provider, whether it's Microsoft or Amazon, but you've got the ability to customize it as well. And if you are interested, you can do some branding related stuff. You can put in your institution's name, you can upload the logo. And as I mentioned, if you're interested in the branding aspect of it, it can help give a little bit more of a personal experience to the students as well. There are analytics that are available. You can, once the classroom is active, you can see the usage, and all you have to do is just click the lab usage report, and you'll get that. The other interesting capability is the enable screenshot feature. So if you check this box, we will be periodically taking screenshots of the work that the students are doing as they're going through the lab, and then make that available to the instructor as well, and they can kind of download it as well. And this serves two purposes. One, you can understand whether they're doing the work or not, but most importantly, where they might be getting stuck, and see if you can provide some support to them as well. So let's just sort of launch an actual lab. I will pick the AZ-104 lab and then see if we can get that launched here. So now we're actually sort of launching the lab module, and depending on the complexity of the lab, it may come up fairly quickly, or sometimes it may take a couple of minutes, because in the back end we're launching different types of virtual machines as well. So this is standard interface. If you had done any branding on these top area, you would see this lab is provided by the name of your university if you wanted that in there. On the left side, we'll have the instructions that the students are supposed to follow on each lab. Some of them might be 10 or 12, 10 or 15 steps long. Some are short, but these are standard instructions. They're coming from typically the author of the lab. So if Microsoft is the author of the lab, then we're getting the instructions for them. If our publishing partners have built the lab, we will get the instructions from them, and then we will test them on our end to make sure that they not only work, but they actually sort of make pedagogical sense as well. The students have access to a few different tools. They can restart the virtual machine that we've launched for them. If it gets disconnected, they can restart that. For accessible students that require accessibility, they can click on that and they can get the recorders set up. The student also has the ability to take a screenshot, so they can take a screenshot. It gets saved, and if they wanted to send it to the student, they can do that as well. And then you move on to the info tab, and this is sort of where all the different pieces of information will show up. So the cloud credentials would be the first one. You can see the username and password. The student will use this information to go into the Azure portal and not have to enter, create a username or password or edit credit card information. They'll get access immediately. And then there is some additional content pieces related to this particular module. And then if you had created, for example, a link to a virtual classroom for your particular class, that would be visible here. If there was a shared file that you were sharing or a shared drive that you were sharing with the students, that would be visible in the info tab as well. So everything is really consolidated in one place. And our intent is that once the students launch the lab, they have pathways to all the different places that they need to go to. So in the past, what used to happen was it was really the other way around, where the students had 5-6 pieces of information distributed out there. They might be getting cloud credentials from their instructor. They might be getting another link for the virtual meeting for the class in an email to the instructor. They might be getting a link to some files or individual files were being sent for a particular lab. All of that now is consolidated and available right here for the student as they're going through the lab as well. The other feature is that you can actually, if you click on the top right button here, you can separate the instructor instruction page from the virtual machine. So many times people will have multiple monitors, so they can put the instructions on one side and then work in the virtual machine on the other side as well. For all of our labs, we have chat support. If the student comes in, they click on here, they can just type in their email address and then start asking questions to the students. We typically have 24/5 live chat support. So this is not a bot. This is a real person that is supporting them in real time. And then if they're outside our support hours, there are other support options as well. So they can open up a ticket right here. They can send email to support at XtremeLabs.io, or they can call us as well at the 800 number, or they can just use this particular form to open up a ticket directly with us. So lots of different capabilities that we have added over the last several years, and I want to take this opportunity to share that with our community, and then see if you have any questions that we can answer for you. So just coming back to the presentation, so I think it covers the formal part of it, and we'll kind of open it up for any questions. So Barry, are there any question chat that I can answer?
Not right now. No, not yet.
Okay. So we'll just wait a minute or two. The recording will be available, and we'll email that out. So if you have any colleagues that weren't able to attend, we can help them we can distribute the recording to them as well.
Somebody has asked, can you show us what it looks like when how we view or how they can view student progress? And they mentioned, or they'd like to see screenshots or whatever you can show there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring the lab. It was in the reporting part of it in the dashboard, so we'll kind of bring that. But might not have a whole lot of data in it, but I'll definitely show that to you as well. So as the lab shuts down, it'll take me back to the main lab platform. And you would, if you're an instructor, you would go into the managed classroom section, and you would go into the dashboard, and then there would be a lab usage report that um, we can download. You may not, because this is a demo lab that was set up, there isn't a whole lot of data, but you'll see the username, the lab title, when they launched it first, when their last launches was, how many total launches it did, usage minute, and then how much interaction did they have with the content as well. So not only are you getting the lab information here, but you're also getting the lab content information as well. And we can send kind of a populated report to everybody. And specifically whoever asked the question, we can send you what a populated report looks like.
Okay. Then somebody else asked, what about, is there, I think they mean, is there a list of certifications with I think they mean with courses, like what certifications go with courses? They said, what is the list of certifications-based labs and associated publisher content? And then the example they cite is, say, for MD 102, what certification is available for that? And they asked if that's available in Marketplace.
So we are adding so right now in the Marketplace, you have the categorization has been done by official Microsoft courses. So you'll see a link that says, Microsoft official courseware. So all of those labs are certification tracks. But pretty soon in the Marketplace, you will see categorization by certification as well. So let me jump into the Marketplace for a second so we can show you that on how that will look. Because we actually did get a lot of feedback on that earlier in the year. So we built it out, and it's kind of being rolled out as we speak. So let me share that with you. So when you go into the XtremeLabs Marketplace, you can browse the categories. So right now you have product type. So you've got the digital hands-on lab, the courses, and then you also have the technologies as well. So you will also see about 4 or 5 new categories being deployed, and that will include the certification lab, but then it'll also include certification by role. So is this a beginner role? Is this advanced? Is it administrator, etc.? So you will see that. In the meanwhile, if you do need it, we can send you the Excel sheet right now that has all of that. But in the next, I would say, 48 to 96 hours, you'll be able to see that in the lab as well, in the Marketplace as well.
Okay. Then somebody asked if we have tech support to help students, and I'm assuming they mean answer right away if they run into problems with the lab. So I think
so if the support coverage is 24/5, live support on chat, as well as telephone, as well as you can open up an email ticket. But 90% of our cases that come in from students, from learners, are really through chat. And that seems to be the most popular way of contacting us. That's available 24/5. And then over the weekend, people have to, if they're having an issue, they would send it to support at XtremeLabs.io, and there will be a response within an hour once we receive that email to provide them support.
Okay. Then there's a question about have MD 100 labs been revised for the fall? And they're saying last year they had a lot of response issues when they had labs with a large number of students. So I think it's a two-part.
Two separate questions. The first one is really the performance when you have very large classrooms. And we now, sometime about 8 or 9 months ago, implemented lots of different technology solutions to improve the responsiveness. So one of the things that it's apart from like the back end technology stuff that was done to improve, including changing the server types, including augmenting it by cloud-based servers as required. But the most important technology solution that's available is something that we call hot pooling. And what hot pooling allows us to do is that when we look at these different large-scale classrooms, we pre-spin up the machines and the virtual machines. So as the students are coming in, the first 10 or 20 will automatically get attached to stuff that's already been launched. And then the other 20 will go through the regular process, and that will sort of keep on repeating. So what we found is that has solved a lot of the performance issues that were reported at launch last year when you had large number of classes. We actively monitor that as well, and I'm kind of happy to say that it's been pretty successful so far.
Okay. Then somebody is asking, how can they find out more about learning LMS integration? Do you have something you can send me? So you can, if you email me, what we can do, the best way to do it actually is to either get you or somebody from your IT team that manages the LMS to schedule a call. I can coordinate with you, with them, and someone from our team to help configure the LMS, and then we can take it from there. And I'll put my contact info in the chat again, and I can help you out with that. Then there's a question here. Somebody is asking, in previous versions of MD, well, I guess they're not sure, MD 102 or MS 102, there was a big lab with, they said, 140-page document, and they said they've run their course over 8 weeks. And so they want to know if these labs have been broken down into smaller modules, chunks, or are they still one big lab? So I can take this one. This is something where I can check with the content team about the structure, but I do know that we can break it into smaller chunks for your students that are more compatible, more digestible. So that's something that we've done before, and we can help configure that as well. Just let us know. Again, I'll put my contact info, and let me know once you recall which lab it is that you would like, if it's MD 102 or MS 102 or something else, then we can help you out from there.
Yeah, this is just let us know. We've done, for example, for the community college system that covers Arizona, Nevada area. We've done specifically with MD 102, actually broken it down for them. And now I think it's 27 some modules for them. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
Okay, great. So really appreciate all the questions. They were fantastic. Thank you for your time. And as I mentioned, from an XtremeLabs perspective, our whole reason for existence is to make the buying journey as simple as possible, make the learner's journey as simple as possible, and make the instructor's journey as easy and as painless as possible. So that's what we spend all our time thinking about. So any suggestion, feedback, good or bad, is always welcome for us. So I thank everybody for attending and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, guys.